First, we will introduce your gubernatorial candidates. From the Nationalist Party is John Orth of the City of McGovern in Nelson County. From the Federalist Party is Luke Olson from the City of Goodland in Sawyer County. Altogether, each candidate will answer 6 questions, and they will have 45 seconds to answer. We ask you to hold your applause until the end of the panel.
All right, our first question will be for John. What is your personal motivation for running for governor?
My motivation for running for governor is probably a little different than a lot of other politicians. I don't campaign very much. I really don't like the idea of having a conversation with someone just to get their vote. A lot of people at lunch go up to the tables that are filled with people and they try and convince them to vote for them. But I'm kind of more so the guy that will go up to the guy that's sitting alone and have a real conversation with him because that's where I think that true connection can be made. And I want to make those connections with you guys.
Next, the same question for Luke. What is your personal motivation for running for governor?
Hey everyone. I guess to me, I'm really similar to John in that perspective. I think more than that, I think it's about, like this whole thing is about being friends with people. It's about making those connections. But then doing something with that. And making change based off of what people say. So pulling other people's ideas together so that we can actually make Badger State what we want it to be. Do the fun and silly laws, do the serious ones that matter. All the things. So my motivation really is just trying to make things better.
Now our next question. Luke, what is your most important policy and why?
You know, I think my most important policy, I think that's a tough question because like most important, there's a lot of, it's also subjective. But if I were to choose one, I'd say the line item veto, getting rid of it. Basically, it lets the governor change any bill and just strike words from it, so the bill says whatever he wants. The reason I think that's the most important is I think that will have the longest lasting impact. Me? Alright. Yeah, so I think that it's most important the line item veto, because that will change things for future Badger Boys State.
Sure. John, what is your most important policy and why?
I think when we talk about importance of policies, it's important to recognize the spectrum that it lies on. Like my fellow candidate here was talking about before, there's got to be serious laws and policies, and there's also got to be some fun ones. I look around in the back and I see all of these tinfoil hats. We're going to space, guys. That's my most important. This isn't a ploy to try and get votes or anything like that, but when you see something that people have enthusiasm for and that brings people joy and excitement, ultimately that's what a leader's job is to do, is to deliver on those things.
All right. So, John, beyond your qualifications and past experiences, why should you be governor?
I think I should be governor because I want to represent the will of the people, and I think I've had a proven track record of making connections with people, of building on those connections, and bridging divide. I know we talk a lot about bipartisanship, you know, the whole nationalist versus federalist thing. I'm not going to do the whole spiel of, I don't see red or blue, none of that stuff. Yeah, we're divided, but that doesn't mean we can't work together. That's when the real change is going to happen, and that's what I want to do as your governor.
All right, so Luke, beyond your qualifications and past experiences, why should you be governor?
I think honestly because I'm going to try to get things done. I'm going to try to get actual policy passed so we can save fund space, which we should, and we will. But on a real level, we got to do stuff. We got to make change. We got to eliminate the line item veto. We got to change the bedtime so that people can hang out with their boys. Like, there are things that we actually have to do. You know, and we talk about the vibe, but guys, these lanyards were given to us. Like, to me, I feel like the only divide we have is the divide that we make up by ourselves. So I want to work together so that everyone can have fun.
All right, moving on to the next question. Luke, what is your strategy for selecting appointees if elected governor?
I think that's an interesting question. My strategy for electing appointees is going to be trying to get the people who I think are the best candidates for that. So, I mean, what that looks like is probably getting some people who have run in the past and maybe didn't get the required number of votes or all the things, but getting people who are the most qualified in those positions so that we can change things for the better.
John, you next. What is your strategy for selecting appointees if elected governor?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's an important part of our role here as a potential governor. I've had the opportunity to speak with Federalists and Nationalists alike who are interested in getting appointed to state health commissions and stuff like that, and fire chiefs and everything like that. That stuff's important to me, and I like being the guy that you can go up to and talk to. So if you want to be appointed, talk to me. I'll give you my phone number and stuff like that. Just be open, be honest about what you want. I'm not going to pick you based on party. I'm going to pick you based on qualification.
All right, this one is for John. A line item veto is a feature of the BDS governor's power that allows them to veto specific words within a bill while passing the rest of the bill. A bill was recently introduced into the state Senate to abolish the governor's line item veto powers. Do you support this bill, or would you veto it?
First of all, I think I would have to look at the exact language of that bill to make an accurate and informed decision on whether I would support it or veto it. But I'm so big on leadership, not about being in charge. It's not about having power. It's about service, and it's about serving what you guys want. So I think ultimately it's going to sound like a cop-out answer, but what you guys want is what I would do, because my job isn't to make the decisions, it's to enact the ones that you make.
All right, although you already brought this up, I will repeat the question for you. So a line item veto is a feature of the BDS governor's power that allows them to veto specific words or numbers within a bill while passing the rest of the bill. A bill was recently introduced into the state Senate to abolish the governor's line item veto powers. Do you support this bill, or would you veto it, and why?
I definitely support this bill. So the way I found out about this bill, I know other people who worked on it. The two boys from my county, one's a Federalist, one's a Nationalist, Peter and Oliver. They're working on this, they helped write it. So I'm familiar with the stuff with it, and so for me, it's a no-brainer. There's no reason that a governor should be able to do exactly what John is saying. The governor has to represent the will of the people. Like, what you guys want ultimately is what we should do. And I know that I want, based on my conversations with different people and the connections I've formed, I want to get rid of the line item veto. It doesn't make sense. I mean, Tony Evers, he used it to change 2024 to 2025. He made it 24-25. Like, he extended something for 400 years when it was only meant to be for 2. And I mean, you can have your opinions about that policy, but I think it's important to do what people want.
And now for our final question. Luke, what's your favorite experience from Badger Boys State?
Oh, that's easy. Getting to know people. I mean, yeah, some of you guys might have seen sort of boys lined up on the bridge, giving high fives and all that. I mean, that's important. But my favorite part, honestly, is getting to walk up to people who are sitting by themselves on the rocks and just chill and hang out, introduce myself, learn other people's names. We're all from different places, and so I think that's really important and interesting, and learning about that is important to me.
And now for John, what's your favorite experience from Badger Boys State?
I think the conversation that we had a couple nights ago about being a man in the box was really enlightening to me. I think a lot of us in this room put other people in the box, and we put ourselves in the box. And regardless on whether or not you agreed with the speakers who were up there or stuff like that, the reflections that we had on my city town hall that night were deep, and they were meaningful, and they were important. And then also the Veterans movie that I watched yesterday. I started tearing up during that. just recognizing the service and the love that they have for this country. So those two experiences for sure.
And with that, we conclude the first ever BBS Governors Panel, hosted by the Badger Boy State Press Corps. Thank you to the candidates and the audience for listening